So if this pond changes, then you have to size it for whatever new development you're doing out there to make sure that it's not contaminating more the Spruce Creek than it is right now.
This area is just about completely developed here, I believe.
Pretty much built out.
Yeah.
There may be a lot or two left.
Yeah, room for a couple of houses.
There's more room out by y'all than there is here, that's for sure.
So I don't understand why we're talking about additional water. If this was supposed to be the area that was supposed to take care of this drainage, and it's not taking care of this.
The stuff across the street, you mean?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not talking about Spruce Creek Estates. I'm talking about just this area that's concerned in River Oaks, that backs right up to here, that has drainage. They have culverts under the road that go into this whole system somewhere. It doesn't come from the other side. I mean, I'm not concerned right now of anything coming from the other side.
Let me clarify, you're talking about the main road to...
No, well...
Spruce Creek Road.
Spruce Creek Road? Are you talking that Spruce Creek Road goes into this system too?
Well,
that's what...
Spruce Creek Road...
It runs all the way up, so yeah.
Well, part of the issue with Spruce Creek Road is the existing ditch that parallels that has been blocked off. Okay, that's one of the contentions that the city has come with. And I know in '04, Ken Parker and I walked this area, and that ditch, which supposedly takes all of the drainage off of Spruce Creek Road itself and should transport that on out, has been artificially filled in. Okay, so it no longer flows. That, of course, now backs all that up into this area. And of course, you know, the '04 storms, we got, you know, a bunch of rain.
Historically, that ditch out there never did put water into the creek. No. It was a dry ditch.
Well, that's
and
not.
It's still basically a dry ditch.
I've never seen any water in it.
No. That ditch does not hold water.
I've been out here since '68, and that ditch, even when it was open all the way down, never transported water.
Well, okay, I will not argue with anybody over that, but I will assure you that in 2004, it was to the top of the ditch. Okay, it went as far as the ditch went and stopped. It became a retention area at that point. I assure you that if that ditch had been open the rest of the way as it had been originally, that water would have flowed on out to the creek. Okay. Now we're not talking about your standard 2-inch thunderstorm. You know, we're talking about 20 inches of rain over a couple of day periods, or 30 inches in a week like we got in May. Those were the big problems. The problem that we have here is not your standard afternoon thunder shower. It's those abnormal events. And we have spent in the Cambridge Basin over $17 million getting that corrected, and this is the last piece of that puzzle.
Right. And
does that drain into the retention pond along the railroad track? Is that where Cambridge Basin area drains into?
The spillway at the track.
Yeah.
Right.
And that water isn't treated there, is it? It just overflows.
Did that get grandfathered in? Is that the reason?
They did dig ponds. That water may not be, but there are ponds that they did expand. Oh, jeez. So there were 3 ponds that were dug to retrofit that whole area. So they're able to show a balance between the few times that it's actually being operated during high water events. For most of the year, those areas that were now just kind of going to Spruce Creek without drainage, without any treatment, now they're going to go there, and then how many pounds of phosphorus they remove every year, they figured that is going to be greater than the few events they're going to actually dump it untreated into Spruce Creek. So it's kind of a worry.
Because I know during the hurricanes, the water was pouring over the spillway, but I don't recall ever seeing any water in this ditch.
Well, I
we
assure
were looking
you,
around.
right here where we just walked across was actually underwater at that point. The creek to the banks all the way, and that was a couple of days after the storm. It was still actually I'm thinking about during the May storm when I was out here. This was underwater, but in '04 the creek, or the banks of that ditch were almost, it was almost to the top of that, and it was a couple of days after the end of the storm. Because I was out, a lady up here had called wanting to know what we were going to do about the fact that the road was buckling, and that's when Ken and I walked the property there. And like I say, it was very, very full at that time.
This may have been asked and answered, and I didn't hear the answer, but you're saying the permit submitted by the city of Port Orange is for a retention pond across the road.
Yeah, I don't think, when we came here, we kind of got confused because this isn't
This
really
is not,
part
no,
of
this
it
is
all.
not at all.
This is not part of
This-
it.
And honestly, I don't see how,
Yeah.
I don't think it could be either. I don't think it's a solution.
So my question to Mr. Kennedy is, if the retention pond is being permitted being requested for across the road, why does the city of Port Orange need the two larger acreage lots here?
I have no knowledge of one on the other side of Spruce Creek Road, and I would...
Right here,
Okay.
dry retention area, right here. We just walked along it. There's a dry retention area here, there's a dry, and it's on the west side of Spruce Creek Road.
That's the one we're working
And
on.
that's the one you're working
That's what
on.
is
And it's
proposed.
never,
Yeah.
Okay,
So if the city has this,
Right.
why are they trying to buy
Going
more
down-
property way
over here.
Because the engineers are telling us that that will not completely resolve the problem that we have here now. St. John's and Quentin Hampton and these other people that know a lot more about this than I do are the ones that are making these recommendations.
Well, shouldn't it be a whole package? If this is where you're headed with this, shouldn't that all go to?
Unfortunately, nothing usually works in a package like that.
Well, you said that this was the last piece to the puzzle.
Well,
that you have this grand plan, you've done Cambridge now, you're coming down here now, and this is the last piece of the puzzle.
what?
So this shows to me that you have
No, we
a
do
lot
not
of
have it.
forethought
Well,
and a lot
the
of
Cambridge,
planning.
the Cambridge Basin issue that we dealt with, and we spent the $17 million, is completed. Okay. What happened is in May, when we got 30 inches of rain in 5 days, we found that there were still some areas that were not being addressed by that, even though we had been, we thought that all of the areas were being taken into consideration with the drainage. And of course, we got a monumental storm that exceeded any expectations, and it showed us that we still had a problem, even though, and I assure you, if you could have been out and looked at the retention area up there by the train tracks and seen the water that they were pumping through there, it was incredible.